a random Thursday afternoon. I was in the third stall from the left when our receptionist came flying into the bathroom. "Julie, your mom's on the phone. There's a woman at her door with an axe, and the police are there." "Excuse me?" "Your mom's on the phone. There's a woman at her door with an axe, and the police are there." "The police are there. Would you please tell my mother I'll call her when I get back from the bathroom?" When faced with a crisis, the first thing you actually have to do is figure out if it actually is one. A friend of mine works with very sick children. A bad day for him means that a child died. That is a crisis. And for years, that's been how I measured whether things were worthy of being upset, whether they were crisis. Was anyone going to die? Over the years, I've added a couple questions. Is anybody going to lose their job? Is anybody going to go to jail? If the answer to those three questions is no, then maybe you don't have a crisis, you just have a problem. Now, I get it. I don't like when the plane lands and my luggage doesn't. I don't like when I have to cancel a meeting because I'm still on hold with Comcast. Those are disruptive, aggravating, pain-in-the-neck experiences, but nobody's life is changed over them. I was thinking about that when I got dressed for today, and I put on this necklace. It belonged to my mom. When I was born, my father adored me instantly. It's all I ever needed to do. But my mom, she was a lot more complicated. When I was 12, she took me to work on a presidential campaign, which clearly set the path for my career. She was a former model who took me to New York for my 13th birthday for my first makeover, which resulted in a lifelong addiction to cosmetics and the job that paid for college. But she had no thermostat. Breaking a nail was no different than the ceiling falling down. And so it was quite difficult to please her. There was always something wrong. And so when my father died suddenly when I was not quite 14, I made a promise that I would do everything I could to make life easier for her, that I would need nothing, and I would never ask for anything. I became the chief of staff for our family. If something needed to be done, ask Julie. If we needed groceries, I got groceries. When I was a little older, if somebody needed to drive carpool, I drove carpool. Whatever I could do to make it easier, because I believed, A, it would make her love me, and more importantly, I believed my brother and my survival depended on it. I got pretty good at it, though, and it became a lot of my career, helping leaders figure out what they want and get it. I developed a process to help people figure that out, and I still remember the first time I taught it. I invited people to plan anything, whether it was personal or professional. And Bob wanted to retire early, so he planned how to pay off his mortgage in 3 years. Jack ran an organization that helped low-income kids in Kentucky, and he was an artist on the side. He decided he wanted to become a level 3 glassblower. Lillian is still my favorite. She had spent her whole life on the Gulf of Mexico. She was nearing 70, and she had never learned to swim. So she made a plan to overcome her fear and learn to swim. All 3 of these people got what they wanted and then used the process again and again to achieve other successes and get other things for their organizations and for their lives. I'd like to share a piece of that process with you this afternoon. If you do me a favor, get comfortable in your seat, fill your chair, put your feet on the floor. Take a deep breath. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. All of the rest of us up here have our eyes open, so we'll make sure it's safe. And I'm going to ask you to think about a big dream or just something you want. And entertain the possibility for the next minute and a half that it's possible and you deserve it. Now I want you to imagine the minute after it happens. What do you hear? Wind in the trees, phone ringing, cheers. What do you see? Where are you? Who's with you? What do you smell? A great meal? Flowers? What do you taste? That bitter taste of adrenaline and excitement? Champagne? What do you taste? What do you feel? How do your clothes feel against your skin? Are you warm? Cool? And what do you feel? Are you excited? Relieved? Take a second to note your experience and then go ahead and open your eyes. The key to getting what you want often is being very clear about what it is. If we all decided to go to the beach this afternoon and we headed down the road and we ran into an accident, we would change our route. We wouldn't stop going to the beach. But when we have big dreams and big goals, sometimes we get entirely committed to the how and we forget the what. So my second tip for you today is to get very, very clear about what it is that you want. Now you'd think I'd be good at this, right? I teach it. I try to walk my talk, but life has a funny way of making you learn stuff again. So about 6 years ago, I was invited, encouraged, asked to run for office. There were 70 days between that ask and the actual race, the actual election. So I had to make a quick decision. Was I in or was I out? I really trusted the people who were asking me. I thought I could do some good. I was more in than I was out. And so in I jumped into a 5-way primary in 70 days. Now, in 70 days, I needed to get about 2,500 people to vote for me, and I needed to raise about $40,000. Not too bad, right? Remember that promise I made about not asking for things? I only get to vote once. So to get 2,500 votes, I had to get 2,499 other people to vote for me. I had to ask them. And I didn't have $40,000 in the bank, so I had to raise the money. Raising money is code for asking people for money. Also not easy, but the thing that terrified me the most, I am somebody who would crawl across cut glass before I'd ask for help. I had a full-time job. I had to be on the phones 20 hours a week. Some people would say 40. I had to knock doors. I had to go to events. I had to fill out questionnaires. There were not enough hours in the day. And so I needed help with stupid little things, like, could somebody put gas in my car? Could somebody go to the grocery store? I had to ask for that stuff. Yuck. But you know what? Over 200 people showed up to give of their time, their talent, their treasure to support me. And only because I asked. Tip 3, ask for what you need. That turned out not to be the only thing that was scary, though. I kept waking up in the middle of the night, afraid of a headline. Endorsed candidate garners 0 votes. Terrified. Not that I would lose. And not even that I would lose publicly, because quite frankly, at that point, I'd been called all kinds of names in public, so it wasn't that. Endorsed candidate garners 0 votes. I was terrified that I was going to let all those people down. I didn't want to let them down. And I found this woman on the stairs in my living room, hysterical, screaming with her arms up by her ears, this voice where I'm screaming about something that needed to be done, except I gotta promise you, no one needed to do it, whatever it was, and that screaming was me, and so we needed to have a little conversation with ourselves. I needed to go all the way back to the beginning. Even if that stupid headline ran, I had a job, I had a home, I had people who loved me, I had a refrigerator full of food, I had electricity. I was fine. There was no crisis to scream about. Secondly, I had to do that thing that I asked everybody else to do, but somehow missed in the rush to get into this race. I had to remember what I wanted. I wanted to expand Medicaid. I wanted to protect women's health. I wanted to change the direction of our state. So I remembered I was fine. I remembered why I was doing 18-hour days for 70 days. I remembered what I wanted. had to do one more thing. When your voice is way up here and it sounds terrible, you're only breathing in the top part of your lungs. And so you got two problems. Your voice sounds awful and you're not breathing. So I had to remember how to breathe. I'd like to take you through an exercise I learned. It's called the box. It's something we teach Navy SEALs. How many of you can count to 4? Looks like most of you. If you can raise your hand, I'm going to believe you're also breathing. But I want to talk about that breathing for a second. Take your thumb, put it on your belly button, and put your hand below it. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath. When you do that, I want you to push your hand towards me and away from your spine. Take a deep breath. That is a deep breath. So when we do the exercise, that's how I want you to breathe. Also, shoulders have nothing to do with breathing. Put them down. You don't need them to breathe. In a second, I'm going to teach you this exercise. All we're going to do is inhale, hold, exhale, hold. That's why they call it the box. And I'm going to count it for you. So take a deep breath. Let it out. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. How you feel? 2018 meta-analysis by NIH found that breathing exercises like that one lower your blood pressure, lower your heart rate, and the reason we teach it to Navy SEALs, it tells your nervous system that you're safe. They need to be calm in difficult situations. I've got to tell you, it's probably the only thing I have in common with a Navy SEAL. So now it's breathing again. But you notice I didn't get introduced with a title. There's no title on your program. I got 2,237 votes and raised $48,000, and I lost by 400 votes. But I remembered why I did it. And so I didn't crawl in a hole. I worked to get other people elected to expand Medicaid and protect women's health. I also was unbelievably grateful. Sean Aker of Harvard has found that gratitude, expressing gratitude, lowers your stress and increases your happiness. So I would love it if you would think of right now just 3 things that you're grateful for. I am grateful to be here with you on this beautiful day in this really cool space. On a really crappy day, I'm grateful for air conditioning, running water, and I live till midnight. But that expression of gratitude makes you happier. I have an extra credit assignment for you. Those of you who are here will need to do this later. Those of you watching later can do this right now. And it's going to be to take out your phone, look at the last person you texted, and send them a 1-sentence thank you. It'll take you 20 seconds. Thank them for something they did or didn't do. Thank them for just being who they are. You will make their day and your own. There is one more thing I want for you. I want you to get that thing you were thinking about a few minutes ago. And some of you are sure you will. When you pay off your debt, when you make more money, when you find a great partner or ditch the bad one, when you have children, when your children are grown. But the one thing we cannot expand is time. According to the CDC, the average lifespan in the United States is 78 years prior to the pandemic. If you subtract your age from 78, you will know how many years you have left. I put mine on the wall so you can follow my math, but you can do yours later. Years are very abstract. That's why you move a goal from this year to next year, but days not so much. So then multiply by 365. That's how many days you have left, not in your work life, but in your life. What are you going to do with them? I want you to get what you want. What are you waiting for? Thank you very much.